Okay, so continuing along, some other stuff with this, when you're just kind of like lightly getting into it, it's actually really good. Like full throttle, yeah, it doesn't feel crazy, but when you're just like partial throttle. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be going over a 2023 Hyundai Kona. First and foremost, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Murdoch Hyundai here in Linden, Utah for giving me some time with this Kona. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Mason. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an IVT transmission, aka an intelligent variable transmission. Fuel economy is 28 around town and 33 on the highway, with power outputs being 147 horsepower and then 132 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go to the front end of the Kona. So first off, we have the signature Hyundai logo there, front and center, and then you guys can see these distinctive body lines on either side of the hood. And I love this like flat gray, it looks really cool. Daytime running light here at the top, by the way, doesn't flicker in real life just because of the frame rate of the camera. And then you guys can see with the halogen bulb down below. And then the turn signal is also integrated into that housing. And then here's a quick look at the grille. We got that kind of cool metallic gray. And yeah, there's the front end. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 215, 55, 17 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see we've got cool silver wheels. And by the way, this is all-wheel drive, if you're wondering. And then notice how the molding there from the front bumper continues into the fender flare area. And then that continues all along the side here of the Kona. And then here's our full side view. Nothing too crazy going on. I do think it has this kind of like interesting, almost like off-roader type appearance because of all like the cladding on the bottom, but there you go. So here's a key fob for the Kona. We have our unlock function, lock function, and then remote start. Pretty simple. You got the Hyundai logo there on the back. Now you've got this little popper right there to open up the hatch. It does have hydraulic assist. We've got our cargo cover already built in. And then you guys can see storage space. I mean, it's not massive, but again, this isn't a massive crossover. It's pretty decent though. Spare tire just underneath. And other than that, I mean, it's storage space area, so yeah. Now, finishing things up with the rest of the rear, I find this trim piece, again, pretty interesting because it matches the rest of the trim on the bottom. And then we've got all of our regular badges here, including our all-wheel drive badge. Taillights, again, very distinctive to the Kona. And again, more cladding there at the bottom. Let me know what you guys think about the overall styling and color on this particular Kona. So here's the rear door panel. First off, you guys can see that the coloration matches here and on the armrest area, but by the way, it is hard to the touch. Window control right there, and then here are these seats. So we've got these cool like white cloth seats. You can see the inserts there in the center of the seat. And let's pop in. Ooh, there's legroom. There's your good old headroom. We got a USB port right there. And of course, we have our cup holder armrest, the most important thing on the planet. Let's head to the front. Now here's the front door panel for the Kona. You guys can see again with the lighter colored trim, and then again, like I said, hard touch there on the armrest area. All of our window controls right here, and then mirror adjustments, pretty normal stuff. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's the front seat. Again, got that white cloth. Well, it's kind of like a grayish white, whitish gray cloth. It's pretty interesting. Anyways, power adjustments here on the side. And then here's the pedal layout down below. Hill descent control, stability control, steering wheel is manually adjustable. Let's pop in. So here's our steering wheel, pretty basic from a material standpoint, but what that means is that this is going to last forever, because when you don't have like crazy nice leather and all that kind of stuff, it just, trust me, it lasts forever. Toyota's proven that. Anyways, we've got our cruise control on the one side, you got the lane keep assist, volume, voice command controls over here on the other side, and your phone controls, turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock, and yeah, there's the steering wheel. Now here's a gauge cluster, mostly analog. We do have that screen there in the center, which we can scroll through some different menus, see different bits of info. But my favorite part is always the drive mode. So notice it pops up there, and once we're in the drive mode, it says it there at the bottom. Pretty straightforward stuff. Normal for normal driving, sport for sporty driving, smart if you want to save on gas. So here's the infotainment screen. First off, if we pop it into reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. Overall resolution's pretty solid. As for the rest of the infotainment screen, pretty easy to use. Now this is basically Hyundai's smaller screen, but notice that we still have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And so it doesn't have some of the functionality of like the larger screen, but it has all the stuff that you need because, well, these two functions right here. Anyways, analog controls at the bottom, and that's all. Single zone climate here in the Kona, as you can see. And then we've got a little charging area down below, shifter for that IVT, drive mode select, and then center locker to make it so the all-wheel drive system does a 50-50 split front to rear. Our auto stop start, and then you guys can see here the cup holders, little parking brake, center console, which this is actually padded a little bit. And then, whoa, glove box that just exploded on us. And then you can see the trim here on the dash. I think that looks pretty nice. And then we've got a mirror dimmer here, sunglass holder, and then just a lighter colored headliner, nothing too fancy. So here's our window sticker for the Kona SEL all-wheel drive. You guys can see 5-year, 60,000 mile new vehicle warranty, and then 10-year, 100,000 mile on the powertrain. And then here's everything that's standard. Base MSRP, we do have a couple options, including the cargo tray. Total MSRP $27,010, and this is actually a different Kona, so our Kona's over there. Let's take it out and drive it. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors, we still have blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. Okay, so let's set off here in this Kona. And you guys know that with everything that's happening in the economy, I've been making an effort to review more affordable vehicles. And I feel like this is really solid, affordable transportation. Gets good fuel economy, has all-wheel drive, so you can drive it in all 4 seasons. And handling is actually really solid. That's the thing that I like about the Kona is, even though it's I think they call it like a CUV, right? It's basically a lifted hatchback, so it means that it handles really well. It drives more like a car than it does like an SUV, so you don't have a lot of body roll, and yeah, just a good experience. But it does mean it's uncomfortable. Like the Kona N, that's uncomfortable because the suspension's super firm on that, because, you know, all out sports car. But this, on the other hand, yeah, the suspension's tuned in really well. It's very comfortable. I'm actually going to pop into the sport setting, automatically transitioned there. I can't say shifted because, well, it doesn't have an official, you know, doesn't have official gears, right? Being an IVT, anything to call it a CVT, right? But yeah, I mean, punching it there. The power outputs that I talked about earlier, yeah, it sounds about right. So not going to be crazy insane from an acceleration point of view, but you know, they do offer, you know, turbocharged powertrains with the Kona if you want more acceleration. If you want crazy acceleration, yeah, they make the N, but obviously that's quite a bit more expensive and quite a bit harder to get compared to this. Other stuff, seat comfort's pretty good. The only thing I think is weird is I don't know why they make the armrest like hard. that's such an interesting thing to me. Obviously, I'm sure it's to save on cost to make it so this could be a little bit less expensive, but yeah, it's still an interesting choice. I like the shifter a lot, like how it has the. I know people don't like piano black trim, but I like how the little head of the shifter is shiny. It's cool. Okay, so continuing along, some other stuff with this, when you're just kind of like lightly getting into it, it's actually really good. Like full throttle, yeah, it doesn't feel crazy, but when you're just like partial throttle, it gets up to speed at a really solid pace, and it doesn't annoy me. I think that's really important. I'm not like, oh man, this needs to be faster. I'm like, oh, this is fine. You get to remember, this isn't a very large vehicle. So summing things up here with, you know, more of an entry-level package on the Kona. I like it. I think this is a really good value, all things considered. Again, in today's market where everything is like $50,000, this is $27,000, has all-wheel drive, gets good fuel economy, it's going to be reliable. This is a reliable powertrain setup, and it's got a good warranty on it too. So if you're just looking for good, reliable transportation that can take you through all 4 seasons, I think that this would be a solid option to look into. That's going to sum things up with our video on this Kona. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Murdoch Hyundai here in Linden, Utah for giving me some time with this Kona. Check the inventory in the description down below. Ask for Mason if you have any questions. I'll see ya.